Denver Broncos great is what I will call him. Terrell Davis. How are you, TD?
What's up, Rich? Yes, indeed, man. Getting ready for the Hall. Getting ready to see my buddy get in, and, of course, Champ getting in as well.
That's right. I keep forgetting, of course. Obviously, how do I forget that? Before we get to that,
how you forget that, Rich?
I don't know. My mind slipped. Hey, TD, before we get to all that, I know you're a golfer. You play golf, right, TD?
Oh, yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Have you ever
I call myself a golfer. I'm not sure if I'm not sure if other people will think if they think I qualify to be a golfer.
Have you ever had a hole in one?
I have never had a hole in one.
Have you ever witnessed a hole in one?
I have. I've seen 3 of them.
3
from non-golfing amateurs, and I don't know how they've done it.
Exactly. Thank you, TD.
It is the weirdest thing ever. You could play golf I've been playing golf for 20-something years, and I've never gotten one. And I play with buddies who they can't play golf. They're hackers. They're shooting hundreds, and all of a sudden they get that one lucky swing, and bam! I witnessed 3 of them. I couldn't believe it.
I know that, TD, and I love how Del Tufo is using your testimonial as proof of his vindication. But I'm not saying but Mike's not saying he got a hole in one. He's saying he got a hole in one in the first swing he ever took as a golfer. Have you ever seen that?
Oh, no, I've never seen that. No, come on, Mike. No.
TD, you were with me the whole time.
Yeah, I know.
I was with you until the details came out of the fact that was your first swing ever.
Mm-hmm.
It was on a short hole.
Hole in one?
A short hole.
The short hole. Yeah, the hole was the same size though. It's just it's still a cup.
It was 4 feet away.
All right. Well, we're gonna hit this maybe the only thing with David Faraday when he joins us shortly. So let's talk about Champ Bailey. Let's start with Champ TD and why you think he's first ballot Hall of Fame worthy. You have the floor.
Yeah, I've Champ with the University of Georgia, of course, my alma mater. I followed Champ for a long time, and he was an athlete. He returned kicks in college. He was a receiver. He was a cornerback. He was just a true athlete. Now, you kind of put him up there with Deion, where he can do everything. And so it wasn't a surprise when he started playing in the pros. He went to Washington and started off his career really well. And then they had a shocking trade between him and Clinton Portis, where he goes to Denver and continued his stellar play. He's just been solid. He's been really, really good for a very long time. And those lockdown corners, as they call them, guys that you don't want to throw to, very smart. He understands concepts. Works really hard and got great, I think, just football instincts. And so, has been doing it for a very long time at a high level. So I think, when his name came up, I think it was kind of a no-brainer where Champ goes in. And, I don't think anybody had any pushback about Champ being a first ballot Hall of Famer.
Now, I know I called you after Mr. B passed away, and you told a story about what he meant to you. What did he do for you? I mean, what part of your maturation? Because I know you were thinking of quitting over in Japan because of the way things were panning out for you in your first year with the Broncos. I'm wondering what he did for you to get you on that field and successful, TD.
What he did really was, there's a different purpose when you're playing for somebody who you genuinely care about. It's like your parents, where if you let them down, you feel really bad. If you don't do something and have success, or try to give them what they've been looking for. Pat's been searching for a Super Bowl for a long time, obviously. And him and John, and they've gotten there, but they never can get over the hump. And I remember losing to Jacksonville in 1996, where we were kind of the favorites there.
Blown out, right?
And,
yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, it was a game where we should have won that game. And, there was a time where we thought about we lost an opportunity to win one, but then you started thinking about the people you let down. And Pat was kind of the first one on the mind, like, man, we really let Pat down. We let Mike Shanahan down. We let Pat down. And that really, when you have that inside of you and you have an owner that you care for and that's a friend, I think you go the extra mile to make sure you try to accomplish things that he's proud of. And that was kind of my career with Pat. I had an owner that, I don't know. I never played for another team, so I don't know what it feels like to play for another team. But I can assure you I never thought about it because I never had to. It was always about, this is a great place. And I've heard people who came to Denver from other teams, and talked about their experiences with their owners and you know, the environment that was created there. The environment in Denver was just one of first class. It was all the reflection of what Pat put into it. He never wanted any credit for anything, but he was just a cool human being, and that to me is like one of the biggest compliments I can give somebody. Is just he was a great person and human being, and you know, and was about everybody else but himself. And you know, obviously, you know, we're proud that he's going in. Unfortunately, you know, we'd have loved to have seen him witness this and experience this adventure of going on that stage and presenting his Hall of Fame speech. But I'm sure he's looking down, and we're just going to celebrate his life, you know, this weekend. And you know, it's going to be fun. Bronco Country's going to be there thick, so it's going to be really, really fun.
Absolutely, because they were going to be there, no doubt, for the game the night before. Terrell Davis joining me here on the Rich Eisen Show. I've never asked you this question, so it's interesting. I'm going to do it on live TV and radio. Is the reason why you showed up at the is Pat Bowlen the reason why you showed up at the NFL Network to work?
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Yeah. Well, yeah, but he's the one that got me the job there.
I bet.
So, yeah, you know, because he was on the committee. He was partly, you know, he was pushing the NFL Network, and he would come down. We would see him. Remember, he would come to the set, like, often. And, you remember that, huh?
Oh, yeah. Now, I kind of put two and two together. He was the first owner to show up at our complex. I put that in quotes. Now it's a complex. Before it was just an office across the way from a studio, right? You know, so he was the first to show up there, first to say, I'll appear, first to say, you know what, I'll put my team on Thursday Night Football, and I'll put them on the road. I'll put them in Kansas City, you know, and he was the first to do all of that. So it doesn't surprise me where it's just like, you know, you're beginning to wonder if your playing career is over and you might want to try TV, and he's like, well, you could stop by the NFL Network.
Yep, that's how it rolled out, man. So again, and that just goes back to who he was. He would just do things just to help other people. And you know, for me personally, like I said, doing the Super Bowl, it was in San Diego, and of course, you know, I got tons of family there, friends, and you know, relatives, whatever. And so, you know, I went to Pat. I was like, I know I needed a lot of tickets, and I wasn't sure if I could get them. So I went to Pat, and I was like, hey, man, I need a few tickets. And, you know, he asked me how many did I need. I gave him a number that was I didn't think he would say yes to. And he was like, no problem, I got you. And I was like, oh, that's cool. So I was able to take all my friends, all my family to the Super Bowl. And, you know, he was the first one to call me when I tore my ACL. And I go back to that moment because that, you know, when I woke up from surgery, when I tore my knee in 1999, you know, you get a phone call from the owner. The first voice I hear is from him. You know, when I come to is, I just kind of it just reinforced who he was as a person and our relationship and what we had. And he had a special knack for making people feel as if they were his favorite. And that is something that, you know, that's a skill and something that I don't know if you can learn that, man. And so Pat was really, really good at that.
Terrell Davis, Pro Football Hall of Famer, getting set to bring in both Champ Bailey and Pat Bowlen into the room where his bust resides forevermore in Canton, Ohio. A couple more minutes left with UTD. All right, last year you did something for me, and I didn't realize it at the time. You told me about this kid, Philip Lindsay, and to keep an eye out for him. And my buddy and Chris and I, we didn't jump on him on a fantasy league or a waiver wire. And
you gotta jump on it. So jump on it, Greg.
Give me another one this year, because I have no idea what it's going to look like. Flacco's there. Obviously, you know, Emmanuel Sanders coming off of Achilles. No Demaryius Thomas there anymore. What in the world is this offense going to look like? Give me a name. Give me somebody to look out for.
Oh, yeah. You know, right now there's a lot of hope. I guess you can use that word, hope, because there's not a lot of knowing what that offense is going to look like. You assume you got their offensive coordinator, Rich Scangarello, who came from San Francisco, quarterbacks coach. They kind of have that offense of Kyle Shanahan or Gary Kubiak. So it's kind of going full circle with Joe Flacco and bringing in the offense where he had success with 2014 in Baltimore. And you can see some of it. You know, it's bootlegs. It's you know, it's that play action pass. It's the run zone stuff. A little bit of the offense that I ran. But they're young, you know, around Flacco. They're a young group. You got Philip Lindsay, was a rookie last year, second-year player. Royce Freeman, second-year player. Deshaun Hamilton, second-year player, Cortland Sutton. They're all second-year players, and so you have this young offense. But you got a veteran quarterback in Joe Flacco. Noah Fant, they drafted from Iowa. So they've got pieces, but, I think it's kind of like, hey, how fast can these guys get up to speed and really learn and master this offense? Because it's a complicated offense. It's not simple. And, I think that's going to take some time for them to get there. And so I don't think a lot of people have a lot of belief that the Broncos are going to be a factor this year. But it can happen. Their defense with Vic Fangio and, with Chubb and Von Miller, those two guys, they've got two bookend pieces. Secondary, Kareem Jackson they got from Houston. So, they're really, and you still got Chris Harris. So the defense, I know they're going to be really good. That Vic Fangio's defense are always some top 5, top 10 defense. So that's not the question. It's just the offense. What do they look like? And it's still work in progress. And I was out there a week ago, and the defense was they kind of dominated them. So you got to say that's going to be a evolution of an offense. And if they can get some things together, get some momentum, get some wins, and, maybe get a win or two that they're not supposed to win, anything can happen. But right now, Rich, they're pretty young, and I don't think a lot of people have high expectations for this team.
So draft the Broncos defense is what you're telling me. You don't got you don't have one for me on the offense, but the Broncos defense, special teams, go and hop on them with Vic Fangio.
Yeah.
Okay.
You can do that. That's probably a safe bet.
Yeah, and Kobe Waldman, the punter, right? Let's get the punter in there for a little bit of
punter there too.
Oh, of course, that's weapons in Denver. You reverse field and then let the defense go to work. Give Flacco a short field touchdown. That's what I'm saying, TD.
There you go. You got your bases covered, man. I see that already.
See you in Canton, Terrell.
All right, brother. See you there, man.
That's Terrell Davis.
For more of The Rich Eisen Show, tune to Audience Channel 239 on DirecTV for free on BR Live or download the Rich Eisen Show app.